ready?
Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Oscar.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
And etc.
Now, Bears Etc. brought to you by Geico, with the voices of the Bears, Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer.
Searching for answers on the offense and much more as we get you set for Bears-Packers in Week 11, Episode 110 of the Bears Etc. podcast with Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak. We're brought to you by Geico. A painful 19-3 loss to the Patriots sends the Bears to 4-5 through 9, 8 more to go, and the most challenging part of the schedule beginning next Sunday at noon against the Green Bay Packers. Tom, a lot to digest. We'll also hear on the status at Hallis from Coach Eberflus, and at the podium on Monday, DeAndre Swift and TJ Edwards, two veterans with insights of interest for us to break down as well. But most keenly interested in what you had to see on tape, and specifically your reaction to my interview with Matt Eberflus, and we'll get to that in a little while, but just overall your reflections on what's going on.
They have to figure out the big picture of how to play complementary football in all three phases, because you can go out there and you can criticize the performance of the offense, and you can say, look, they got to kind of reinvent themselves to see how to play better, to do better, and to score more points. They're still playing good defensive football. But because, when you talk about a score that's 19-3, 19 is not a great deal of points in the NFL. With the beginning field position, if the offense could take advantage of that and they could get themselves in the scoring column, and then you're allowed to do a couple things more aggressively on defense. And when you have a guy like Kyler Gordon back in the lineup, he gives you that type of versatility that you can attack from different angles and different levels. So if you're really looking at the big picture, what can we do starting Wednesday at practice and continue through the walkthroughs and into the meetings to make us a more efficient offense so we complement the defense and the special teams? And that's why you're a professional coach, and this is what you've been doing your whole life. This is why you're a professional football player, and it kind of DeAndre Swift said that a couple times at the podium. And you started it. This is Bears-Packers week. You don't need to say a lot more after that. This is an emotionally packed week that can do a lot to get this thing right back on its feet.
You mentioned not reinventing the wheel, that kind of thing. Is it possible to do that midseason, or are we just talking about a different approach, whether it be coaches, players, both coaches and players, at how this offense is supposed to be working?
Well, I just think, last night on Bears Game Night Live, we are talking about, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift. What do you do well that you can build upon going forward? In the passes and the examples to Keenan Allen that can affect DJ, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, and everybody else that can catch the football on this team, it's about the efficiency and the timing of getting the ball out of Caleb's hands. He's got great accuracy. He's super efficient on the short distance passes. Allow it to get into the hands of the playmaker and then let them make the play. Don't count on yourself as a quarterback that has to make the biggest of the play. Just make the play that's offered to you. And we saw repeated examples of it to Keenan Allen that I think that can carry through to every team that you're going to play the remainder of the season. Then you have to look at the plays that DeAndre Swift runs well because they're being blocked well. If that's the outside zone plays where you can use the athleticism of the offensive line to get outside the power base and compete more against linebackers and defensive backs, if you have defined point of attack plays that you just tell the running back, follow the offensive line, put the responsibility on their shoulder. And DeAndre Swift even said at the podium, if it means that I got to put my shoulders down and get 3+ yards per carry, that's what we have to do. So to me, it's not an impossible task. It's just going to watch the tape, maybe backtracking and watching a couple of other tapes and just see what you're repeatedly doing well. And you can do it. You don't need 50 plays going into a game. You can do it with the 5 best manageable plays run-wise that you can run repeatedly out of different formations. And then the passing of getting the ball out of Caleb's hands.
Good news, Chicago. United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles like Bluetooth connectivity, screens at every seat, and room for everyone's roller bag. United, proud to fly the Chicago Bears and you too. So let's listen in to the status at Hallis with head coach Matt Eberflus as he investigates what potential changes might be in store for the Bears in advance of the kickoff against the Packers. All right, thanks very much, Matt, for joining us once again. How you feeling today?
Okay, thanks for having me on.
I imagine not an easy day this week at Hallis Hall for you and your staff as you contemplate some tweaks, some changes to your offense and how it operates moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's important that you take the time to do that process, and again, we're all disappointed in the last 3 weeks. We know that, but what's the solutions and the answers to moving forward, and what's best for the Bears, and not only what's best for the Bears, what's best for our offense, what's best for the quarterback, what's best for the defense, what's best for special teams, and again, we're in the process of doing that, and again, we got to find some answers here. We're playing some good football teams coming up. We got our division starting. So it's important we get that done this week.
And it's easy to just make rash decisions in a moment, right? You got to temper your own reactive nature. Everybody does. Everybody has that, and right. Then kind of take a very thoughtful process.
Yeah, it's got to be thoughtful. It's got to be what's best for everybody, and what's best moving forward. And I a lot of times, a tweak here and a tweak there is good, and it can be improved with just that much. And I think it's important that we look at it that way. And going forward, there's going to be adjustments and changes because we need to get better as a football team.
This is almost like being a car mechanic, to be honest. You're a car mechanic right now. Bring in the car, hey, it's just not running right. There's something, the engine doesn't run right or whatever. And it's not just like swapping out 4 tires. You got to look at the engine.
Right, and you make that analogy, and I think it's a good one. But there is evidence on tape that we have played good football. We have played good complementary football, offense, defense, and kicking. And our offense has scored a bunch of points, in consecutive weeks. So it's there. We just got to find that winning formula and get back to that. And not only get back to that, but improve from that. It's got to be an ongoing process through the rest of the season. And, there's going to be tests and there are going to be adversities that come up. And, playmaking and putting guys in position are going to be at a premium going forward. And that's where it is right now.
And one of the biggest things is the protection, obviously, or how it's handled from the quarterback to the offensive line or the backs, tight ends, wide receiver, whatever the case may be. You're going to keep experiencing that, right? They're going to load up extras on the line of scrimmage and make you figure out a way to stop it. Is that the quickest problem solve to get the offense back running at a smooth level?
Yeah, it's always important that when defenses crowd you up front, that you have things to get over the top, and those are things that you can do that multiple ways in multiple designs. But again, that's an important thing to do. Because defenses in this league, if they see something that's working, they're going to keep running it. So that's an important that we find answers for that.
Yeah, and like you told me and Tom Sunday after the game, I talked about the offensive line, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's like a puzzle right now. You don't know what pieces are healthy week to week in game. So many times this has happened, but nobody cares. The opposing team is not going to care about that. You just got to figure it out somehow, some way, and. But you're really digging in deep to your depth.
Yeah, we have done that during the course of the year. We started out the year pretty solid, with a little bit of injury here and there, but for the most part, we've had some guys shuffle in there and shuffle out. So we just hopefully we'll find some guys back, this week, based on injury and based on how they practice, and we're hopeful that way.
And so you meet so many times with Caleb and have that relationship with him. You would be the first to know if there is any concern about what a lot of quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, if they get hit a lot, sometimes they start seeing ghosts. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying you think about David Carr. I think about David Carr all the time in his rookie year And as an expansion quarterback, he was hit so many times, it likely affected his career. How do you make sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah, it's just I do know this, that Caleb is confident. He has confidence in the guys around him, and he's in his rookie year, and he's learning as he's going. And again, we're looking for improvement from him and from our offense, and really from our whole football team.
All right, so even though things didn't light up on the scoreboard, there's always something positive, as you say, when you watch the tape. What are some things offensively you feel there's evidence of building on after these last couple of games?
I showed the guys the first part of that game, where we did some really good things. We went 3-and-out on defense. We end up having that great punt return, which is a flip the field type of play. And then on offense, we ran the ball effectively when we did run it. And we got to stay to that. And there were some tight window throws, to Keenan, to Rome. There were some tight window throws, DJ. There were some good throws in there. And again, we just got to be more consistent with that. And then when we get into the scoring zone, when we get to that kick line and the scoring zone, we got to do a really good job of course, we're not trying to kick field goals. We're trying to score touchdowns, and we have to do a good job of maintaining that kick line. If we're on that kick line, so we have at least come away with 3.
Yeah.
So
the bummer about it, like the field position was so good. That's an enviable moment early in that game.
Yeah.
Was it 4 times or 3 times?
Yeah, you had the interception also. Yeah. So that to me is complementary football, and I showed the guys that those 3 sequences there to start that game. So again, that's playing complementary football. We just got to cash it in there.
Let's look defensively. How did you guys, in your opinion, weather the absence of Big Bill inside there? He's such a presence, as we've discussed.
Yeah, our goal is 3.9 average. We were 4.1, so we were close to it. We ended up having a couple of ones that came through there. But for the most part, we kept the cup. We kept the big cup, so we didn't have big explosives there. And it was better. It was better overall. I thought the guys stepped up in there in terms of the D tackles, played solid. Pickens, BC played well. So we just got to continue to do that. I know we play a lot of guys, but we have to play well and be consistent there. And I thought it was better yesterday.
Yeah, but you like playing a lot of guys though at the same time, right? Yeah,
I do. Yeah, and I really think Booker's coming on. If you watch him and the way he's playing, really excited about him, the way he's playing the run game, and the way his passion and energy. And his strike is really, and he was really close on a sack too. So his development's really coming along well.
Yeah, I mentioned him because he sticks out, like the violence which he plays with. Like you said, there's no quit in him. He's always showing up somewhere. Yep. Maybe he doesn't finish the play sometimes, but that's coming.
Yeah, and then I also pointed out, Kyler Gordon coming back, and he really played a nice game. In terms of his reaction, in terms of his, playing the run, playing the pass, I really think that, he really came back in good shape and in a good way.
And the ones, I talked to Elijah Hicks after the game. It's kind of the first time I've talked to him since he's been here. What a nice young man, and his very thoughtful approach to the outcome of that game, and having that interception right there in your hands. These things that was in the end zone. I'm sure Byard thought he had one. Those could have made a difference in the game as well, the ones you didn't finish.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And then in the pocket, we thought we gave away a couple sacks just, the other day too. I think we could have had some strip sacks in there. But again, those are big play moments, for a football team. When you set the field there, get those takeaways on a short field, those are always big time moments.
Okay, we can talk special teams real quick. You mentioned the DeAndre Carter. He seems to always come up with some good play in his opportunities. What did you think of the day for Tory Taylor with the wind being so unpredictable yesterday? I'm sure that impacted everybody because you never knew where it was coming from, at what time of the game. The gusts, I could feel them in the booth out of nowhere. That was the day yesterday.
Yeah, it was real. It was real, and it was flipping the field and getting field position was at a premium. Torrey's done a really good job this year when he knows when it has to cut it against the wind or lay it up there. Going with the wind also, and he did a really good job of managing that. I think he figured it out really fast. After that first punt of his, but he did a really nice job. Those
are great learning tools for him for the rest of his career here.
So I think having Cairo in there too. With the expertise and the knowledge that Cairo has of Soldier Field. is unmatched, and I think that having his experience there helps him too.
All right, it's a roll up the sleeves, dig in kind of moment. Green Bay Packers next. I know you're focused on taking care of your own house right now, not worried about what they're doing, but off the bye, we know what they are. I mean, let's just take it from one new angle as a new defensive coordinator that we haven't faced in Jeff Havley. What do you know about the way he approaches the game and what you might expect on Sunday?
I've seen some crossover games with our opponents, very sound, a little bit different structure. Plays shell, but also will drop in and play some single high. And, has a pretty good blitz package too, and I know they've done a good job of taking the ball away. And that's an important part for them. So we have to do a really good job of protecting it, locking up the football. So, so it's and then offensively, obviously
they're going to run.
Yep, they're explosive, in the run game and obviously the pass, and they're one of the top 5 offenses in the league. So they got a really good skill, in terms of their new runner and the skill set at receiver. And it's going to be a big challenge for us, and we're excited to have him in Soldier Field.
All right, Josh Jacobs, the running back you're referring to. All right, good luck with your prep this week.
You got it. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. Tom, I think it is important. You said it before going into this interview. There are things they do well. You can't dismiss the entire first 9 weeks of the season as a failure. Absolutely not. You're a sub-500 team at the moment, but the whole season's there before you. So taking his time, going to figure out what's the best plan of attack. Everybody knows it has to get better. Everybody knows they got to get more points on the board. Everybody knows Caleb's got to protect himself, and the team has to protect Caleb. Coaches have to figure out the game plan to protect Caleb better and face what they're going to continue to face. How are they going to defuse the bomb? The bomb is the blitz. The bomb is a 6-man protection needed, sometimes 7, sometimes a nice stunt that gets home. Everybody's putting the pressure on the Bears until they stop it. And that's really what you've been pointing out week after week after week, and they're going to continue to see it until they stop it.
Yeah, so the point of emphasis there is then we talked about, is it passes out of the hand quickly of Caleb to all the dynamic receivers the Bears have? Is it getting back to running screens that can deceptively be run against multiple people pressure at the line of scrimmage? Is it the type of trapping and the interior blocking schemes that you can use against an opponent that wants to be over aggressive at the line of scrimmage? And all those things are going to be investigated by the coaching staff, and to see what best suits the Chicago Bears right now. So that's what I said. This isn't something that they cannot do, and they just have to fold their tents and show up week by week. And even, again, going back to DeAndre, paying attention to the details during practice. Make sure that you don't have those pre-snap penalties, whether it's false starts or whatever, that come back to haunt you throughout it and take away an entire series. So if you can correct those types of issues, you're going to be at home the next couple weeks. You're going to be in command of the cadence. And if you have to simplify that, and I'm not saying simplify it so much that the defense knows what you're doing, but simplify it enough where you don't have pre-snap movement penalties that come back to haunt the whole series.
Hey, let's listen in to DeAndre Swift. I talked to him after the game on Marquee, and he was great. Understood the impact of what's coming up down the road. He's a guy that's been on 2 different teams in this division now, and he had plenty of good things to say at the podium. He spoke like a true leader. Let's listen in.
I know what we do need to do as players, and that's execute better. That's what I do know. Yeah.
Andrew, do you have a sense for why the offense has been so rickety since the bye week and unable to get much going consistently?
Come down to detail, execution, things that's all correctable. Like I said, we just need to execute better as a unit. It's tough when the position that we are in, when the defense and special teams unit have been playing how they've been playing all year, and we can't really, help them guys. So we need to figure out a way to, come out on the other side of that and be an asset for this organization.
Is it concerning to you that when we've talked to you about, you meaning players, throughout the year, that it's been the same thing where it's talking about details, execution? Since week 1, that's the answer we've been given for some of the things that have gone wrong. Is that a concern 9 weeks, 10 weeks in now, that that's still a problem? For
sure. Because at the end of the day, we everybody's here to do a job, and we want to produce, and we want to all play together. We want to play well together. So it's not clicking, it's this, it's that. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to execution and detail. but it does get tiring of saying the same things over and over again. So just gotta, everybody just gotta do their job.
What do you see when you look at the film?
I just feel like everybody can be a little bit more intentional in their work, take a little bit more pride in the detail and the focus that goes into it, the preparation that goes into it throughout the week. So when come game time on Sunday, it's execution. Because we've seen it Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I feel like that's where we can grow and get better. First and foremost, it starts on Wednesday.
When you're during the game yesterday, when you see the score and you see the struggles you guys are having, you look at alongside you see DJ, you see Keenan, you see Cole, you see Rome, you see Caleb. What's going through your mind that collection of guys isn't putting up the points you expect?
It's frustrating. It's frustrating just to. I'm not gonna sit up here and talk about the talent and all that. That's on the offense because everybody sees that on paper. But we got to do a job as us collectively of finding a way to showcase that on the field. We have a great opportunity ahead of us. That was the last game we played of the season, so we're blessed with another opportunity to go out there and go to work.
Are you worried at all about what this is doing to Caleb, seeing him sacked as much as he is and going through things like this?
No. I continue to talk to him and try to help lead in any way I can. No, he ain't phased at all. I know he's gonna learn from everything, which we all need to do. You can always learn, can always be better. But I know he's gonna learn from everything that he needs to learn from and continue to work.
How do you balance the frustration of thinking that you guys should be better than you are with the reality that your rookie quarterback's a rookie?
Yeah.
And that, sometimes things, are gonna take it.
Yeah, it's gonna be ebbs and flows throughout the NFL season. Like I said, that wasn't the last game of the season that we played. Could we have had that? Would we have want that one back? For sure. We have another opportunity, a great opportunity this week against the divisional opponent. So if you got any ounce of competitive bone in your body, it should show.
He's in your camp, Tom. Find the things that work and let's do them better. Let's be laser focused at practice. He's putting himself in that category and everybody in that category. So, players want to lead. Well, players got to then lead on the field on practices as well.
Yeah, I really like what I heard out of DeAndre Swift today. I mean, I have a whole new respect for him because I haven't heard him much on the difficult situation that he was facing at the podium today, and he stood up there and spoke like a true leader on this football team. But the whole thing of being laser focused in practice and in meetings and walk through to make sure that mentally you're on top of the game and everything but you may even have to pick up the tempo of practice and give them more, because I know that nowadays with the collective bargaining agreement, you don't have the luxury of being in pads. So you're not really out there beating each other up. You can't afford to do that at this late stages. But if there's a more of a realistic tempo to practice and you get an understanding at the speed of the receivers and their location according to the passes called, things like that could help the timing of Caleb. And we're talking about speeding up the process of the passing game to take away a little bit of the pressures. Maybe that's something that you have to invest a little bit of energy in to get more realistic in the timing of what you see on Sunday.
Would that help the offensive line, however it may be constructed against the Packers based on injury and availability? Would that help the offensive line the most?
100%. It does. Every segment, every facet that you're a part of, the speed of the game helps you. And like I said, I'm not talking unrealistically about going out there and punishing themselves during the week so they don't have it on Sunday. It's about making sure things move a little bit faster in front of your face so you know how to adjust athletically. You know how to adjust when you have combination blocks, whether wherever they may happen. And if you see a faster pace of pressure, you got to put the idea in the head of everybody that's involved that, okay, I need to get this ball out of my hand 3/4 of a second faster in the game. And if you present that in practice, you get a better understanding of what that time frame really is.
According to Next Gen Stats, the NFL Stats Service, Caleb, his time to throw was 2.79 seconds. That was the worst since weeks 1 and 2, facing the teams he faced then. So, yeah, that's not a lot of time, obviously, but enough time to get the ball out if you know where you're going with the ball. You know what I'm saying?
I 100% agree with you, and I'm glad you brought that up, because if you take what that average time is, and then let's take the 5 completions to Keenan Allen, and let's look at the time that the ball was out of his hands in those completions, and I bet you it changes significantly from that 2.79 or 97 that you said.
It is crazy, though, when you put it in those terms, just how quick 2.79 seconds is, or 3 seconds. But that's a football play, and
right.
It is a snapshot, though, of just how challenging it is, especially when you know they're coming. You know they're bringing blitzes. They got blitz more than any other game this season, 48.8%, highest of any Bears opponent this season. So, pages are going to be taken out of this playbook again until the Bears solve it.
Right.
And these are things they're tasked to do here. Have a new or gently used coat laying around? Head to your local Jewel Osco until February 10th and donate one of your new or gently used coats to the 36th annual Chicago Bears Coat Drive. Help keep Chicagoans warm this winter. Also speaking was TJ Edwards. He had a very nice game yesterday with 13 tackles to lead the team, had the interception that was thrown right to him by Drake May. And he's always a picture of leadership and maturity and common sense when he takes the podium as well. And when asked simply about how to get better, it's the same thing you and I have been talking about. It comes down to that in the NFL. It's about execution. Let's listen in more to T.J. Edwards.
I thought our prep was good and everything like that, but it was to that point to where we didn't create that juice, right? It's either us getting a takeaway or kind of getting a rhythm on the other side, and it's everyone together, right? It's never a one-sided thing with that aspect, but we all acknowledge that it's something that we want to continue to focus on, and at the end of the day, come in, especially at home, someone's got to make a play to get things going and get that head in the right direction, for sure.
TJ, is the snowball effect of the last 3 weeks still from the fallout of the Hail Mary and all of that, or is it something else?
I mean, we're not executing. I think from top to bottom. We've seen that. We know that's it's not to our standard what we've done. No one's, I think a loss is a loss in the NFL, and all of them are tough, right? Whether it's the Hail Mary or this last one or Arizona, that's kind of how that goes. And all we can do is figure out a way for it to look better going forward. Like we have to. There's a sense of urgency, and we understand that, but. That's one thing that I know can't happen is getting hung up on what went wrong and not being able to move on. So I know it's going to be a good week of prep for us, for sure.
When you've been on teams before, whether in the NFL or in college, that have gone through maybe stretches of losses, what worked to get on the right track again? Yeah,
I think especially in this league, accountability is huge. And I think truly understanding whether it's have an understanding of what's being asked of you, or if because you can kind of take. I think what we've kind of seen is you can kind of take a, maybe you just miss a tackle or something like that, right? It happens, but being in the wrong spot and those things are something that we always want to make sure we're on top of. So it's getting those things fixed up so we don't beat ourselves. That's the biggest thing in this league. Everyone's too good to. If you hurt yourself, it's going to be a longer down for you. So we're just trying to look at everything we can to get this thing going. We're excited for this opportunity. It's a big one. It's an exciting one. And we're just going to keep on plugging.
TJ, we heard a lot about accountability, obviously, after the Washington game.
Yeah.
We heard a lot about it last week. What can you guys do to make it different this week? Because I imagine it was a point of emphasis the last 2 weeks. So how do you figure out a way to actually make it stick this week?
Yeah, I think it's player coach communicating with each other in terms of maybe what we need and what they see, and getting on the same page with that. But it's such a thing in this league that if you're off by a little bit, right, you get beat. Or if you're off by a little bit, you're the drive's extended, or it's a 3 and out. It's such a small margin for error that we have to be on top of every single detail. And it's one thing to say it, and it's one thing to give it the speech in that sense, but we got to go and show that we're understanding it, and that we're correlating those meetings and the walkthroughs to the field on Sunday, because that's really what we are. That's our resume, right?
Players like Swift and Edwards and Komet in previous weeks, and many others on this team, it does give you a slice of insight into a calm approach, because you can't be wigging out here It's still a team that has won 4 games. It's a team that has, again, I'm going to emphasize, the whole season in front of them. They can make a lot of noise if they pull this thing back together. They've shown that they can, and I don't care who you play and where everybody's ranked defensively. It doesn't matter. That's just a bunch of math. Because as we know, each and every week in the league, you can stub your toe. Each and every week, somebody's going to upset somebody. Each and every week, somebody is going to win a game they shouldn't. But if as long as you stay focused and just take one at a time, all these coaching cliches you can come up with, you can turn the direction of this thing on a dime as quickly as it's turned in the negative way in a dime.
Oh, no doubt about it. And, DeAndre Swift was a great example of leadership at the podium, and so was TJ Edwards. And I think both of those guys realized if you got in the auditorium before a team meeting and there was no head coach standing in front of you, you'd have to realize that the guys sitting in the seats are going to be responsible for this thing getting better, for this thing getting turned around, because no coach is ever going to be in a stance during the course of the game. So how you pay attention in meetings, the effort that you give mentally and physically in practice is going to reflect in the results on a Sunday. So TJ and DeAndre Swift are a great example of leadership, and I think they stood up there and talked about the importance of concentrated work ethic and effort during the course of this week and every week to follow.
We're brought to you by PNC, official bank of the Bears, and Tastes Like Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Time for the Geico brings you more football stat of the day. Interesting. 11 teams, 3-6 in the NFL through Week 10. Pretty rare that a third of the NFL has playoff hopes that are flickering, and it's only early November, approaching mid-November. But and in the history, only 9 teams have come back from 3-6. It has nothing to do with the Bears' record. It's just a stat. But since 1990, so not many. 5 teams have been 3-6 and made the playoffs since the wild card expansion in 2020. They include, and I'm just using this as a reference, the 23 Packers, the 23 Rams, the 22 Jaguars, and the 21 Eagles. All teams that, made noise in the playoffs significantly here in the last couple of years. So the Bears are in a better position at 4-5 and now take on their arch rival. So let's dig into that a little bit. I don't know what you think of that stat. Somebody put it out there. I just thought I'd send it your way, Tommy.
Well, you listen to all those stats of the past and the different examples of teams, what they're able to accomplish with the certain records. But we've been talking about this all season. This season does not start
until week 11.
That's right. I don't know how many times we have said that.
Yeah.
I can remember being in the viewing suite during training camp, and the different people that would come and watch practice would ask that question about not records, but big games and all that. And each time we reference it doesn't really start until week 11. And so when you bring up the topics and the different examples that you just brought up, here we are, man. We're ready to rock and roll. No matter what the record is, you still got the whole division to play. So I think there's some excitement still to come at this NFL season. There's still some excitement to come for this Bears season.
Yeah, let's find out what they're truly made of. I mean, what this team is truly made of. They believe in themselves. They believe that they've got talent to get the job done. Coaches believe in the players. Players believe in themselves. That's significant. And don't look at this as a big mountain you have to climb right now. All you got to do is climb that little bunny hill right now. It's the Packers. That's it. Week 1. Don't look at the entirety of the schedule, because in reality, there's a bunch of teams in this league still trying to punch their way into what they really are. Some are not. Some already know who they are. The Kansas City Chiefs haven't played high-level football. They're winning games. They know how to win. They've told everybody by how they play, they know how to win. And it's a whole different bunch of reasons why. But the rest of the league is just still trying to figure out what they are at this point, and that includes the Bears. And so whatever changes appear to be coming, we don't know what they are as of this taping. Hopefully they look at under the microscope in the way that is constructive, productive, and that players are going to be put in a position to win.
All I'm looking for is a confident Bear football team walking off the practice field on Wednesday feeling good about the effort they just put out there and going, okay, let's take the momentum of this Wednesday practice and turn it into a Thursday practice. Be efficient, be smart at the line of scrimmage, make the right decisions, work at a speed that is relatable to the speed of what you're going to almost see on a Sunday. And if you can walk off those practice fields feeling good about what you just left behind, that creates confidence inside the locker room. Then it increases a positive conversation inside the locker room amongst the players. And it has something to build on in the meetings and stuff. So just start with a great Wednesday practice and feel good about walking off the practice field. And I think that'll do a lot for your mojo.
Let me ask you this question. Would a win over the Packers be bigger than a Hail Mary loss to the Washington Commanders for this football team?
Oh, yeah, of course. A division win against a team that's considered a good football team. You look at the touchdown to interception ratio between the two quarterbacks playing in this game. Jordan Love has thrown quite a few interceptions. So, yeah, you go out there. Hey, man, we just talked about it 10 seconds ago about this season doesn't start until week 11, and here we are right back at that subject. You go out there and you beat the Green Bay Packers at home in front of your home crowd, then all of a sudden the narrative changes about the Chicago Bears and about the seriousness of the relationship and where they are in the division. So, heck yeah, man. Give me that win, and I'll be the happiest Bear walking out of that stadium.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, right here at home, driving access toward healthier communities through it all. Let's dig in a little bit before we give our Thursday preview, but let's look at the defense of the Green Bay Packers. Coach Flus intimated that that's definitely a change with the new defensive coordinator there, Jeff Hafley. Right now, Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark, 2.5 sacks, 0 sacks, respectively. However, they've got, I think, 13 players that have combined for sacks, so they're getting a lot of production, and they're taking the ball away. That's the first.
They only have 22 as a team.
Yeah.
So It's not like they have a guy up there that's almost reaching double digits like when you see Cincinnati or what Hutchinson was doing in Detroit and stuff
Trey
like that.
Trey Hendrickson, boy, he's good, isn't he? There in Cincinnati.
Yeah, he is.
And against the Vikings and Lions in 2 big games, they were home games, they trailed 28-0 against Minnesota and 24-3 against Detroit. So, again, I know we think of the Packers only through a Bears lens because of the streak of losses and the inability to knock them off on a consistent basis, but they're not humming either at a high level just yet. So there is opportunities here to make some noise. Now, offensively, you alluded to the quarterback, turnover-prone throws, no question about it. What does Jacobs look like in the backfield for them, the former Raider, versus what they had and the guy that did a lot of damage against the Bears over time, now with the Minnesota Vikings, and Aaron Jones? The difference in their styles. Is this more of a battering ram back, in your opinion?
The difference in the styles of the two backs, it's because of the quarterback. You think of what Aaron Jones did with Aaron Rodgers and how sometimes he could deceptively go through a play-action fake and have a swing pass out, and all of a sudden now he's on the edge of the defense and he's running more in open space. Where Jacobs, he had to develop a battering ram style, a guy that could have multiple carries in the course of a game because he was playing with a struggling quarterback in his first stay with the Raiders. But now you're playing with a guy like Jordan Love, who's not at the level of Aaron Rodgers, but he is playing a solid brand of football over the last couple of years. He doesn't really give you the versatility of Aaron Rodgers in terms of a pass catcher, a downfield weapon, and not necessarily an RPO guy, but an outside zone type of player. But still, Jacobs can do it all. I mean, he's a good durable running back that's had success in the league because he's, willing to have high double-digit carries if they need it.
Emmanuel Wilson has really come on well as a change-up as well. They still have A.J. Dillon, but this running back has done a nice job. So stopping the run, again, are going to be a big part of this whole thing for the Bears defensively. All right, well, that gives you a little sneak peek at what we're looking at. Got to dig in deeper for the Packers. Can't wait to the matchup We'll have it for you starting at 12:02 on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network. Bears fan Steinhoffels is a proud partner of the Chicago Bears. In this Bears season, Steinhoffels is partnering with Special Spaces Illinois to create dream bedrooms for children battling cancer. For every false start caused by the Bears defense during a home game, Steinhoffels donates $1,000 to Special Spaces Illinois. Shop in store and online at steinhoffels.com. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. As always, thanks for listening, everybody, and please subscribe now on the Chicago Bears official app, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get